is a major obstacle in your financial life? Then tune in and let's escape student loan debt. Hello, my name is Brenton Harrison. I am the founder of Escape Student Loan Debt. And if you are one of our subscribers, you've probably noticed there have been a lot of changes that have been going on this channel over the last few months. We have rebranded our course, and our flagship company was previously known as Ultra Borrowers Academy. You might have also noticed that we have pulled a number of our earlier videos off of the platform. And you will also notice, in terms of the entrance of this video, that this is the episode where we tell you some details about what we've been up to, starting with the creation of the Escape Student Loan Debt podcast. So I wanted to do a video where we explain the changes, the rationale behind why we are moving to a podcast. We're not going anywhere in terms of the YouTube channel, and also how I even got started in this process and why I think this is a valuable and viable shift for the people who are tuning in and hoping to escape student loan debt. So in this video, we'll tell you more about the why, the what, and the how of the Escape Student Loan Debt podcast and what you can expect from future episodes. Let's get started.
You're listening to the Escape Student Loan Debt podcast.
Subscribe now at escapestudentloandebt.com.
Welcome back.
So if you're tuning into this video and you don't know me, I'm Brenton Harrison. I am a 13 going on 14-year financial pro, and I have been working in the student loan space for almost the entirety of my career in this industry. But it started by happenstance. I'm born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. And when I had been in the financial industry for a few years, I got a call from a contact at Meharry Medical College, and they asked if I would be willing to come and do some loan counseling for their fourth year graduating medical and dental students. So I started the process of making sure that I knew what I was talking about. I read up on everything you possibly could as it pertains to federal and private student loans, and it was a bit of fake it till you make it at the beginning of that process. But I eventually gained some capacity and felt comfortable to start sitting one-to-one and helping these graduates with their debt. And I remember very vividly that at that time, and this was probably 2010 or so, the average person who would come and meet with me might owe $100,000, $125,000, $150,000 in federal student loan debt. And at the time, I thought that was an astronomical sum. But I started noticing that with each passing year, that debt total, in terms of the average debt that these students were asking to be consulted on, started creeping higher and higher. And then it didn't creep, it just exploded. And all of a sudden, those people who used to come to me owing $150,000 started owing $275,000, $325,000, $350,000, $375,000. And now I can say with confidence that if I'm sitting across the table from someone who went to a private medical school, a private dental school, a private law school, I can say with certainty that many of them will owe $400,000 or more if they took loans out all the way through. And I realized at that point that this is truly a crisis. These people are going into a career, and before they've even started making money, they owe a mortgage worth of student loan debt. And when I started to look outside of other industries beyond the medical field, I noticed that maybe the amount wasn't as high, but the multiple of debt in terms of the debt relative to a person's income was the same. I would meet people who made $50,000 and owed $150,000 in student loans. They might make $70,000 and owe $200,000 in student loans. And it really doesn't matter what you make. You reach a certain point with your loans where you feel that your relationship with them is unsustainable. And unfortunately, I would love for this to change. I would love to be put out of business as it pertains to this industry. But unfortunately, understanding and navigating federal and private student loan debt is one of the most complicated things that you can try to do when it comes to your personal finances, in my opinion. The rules are arcane and outdated. The payment plans are complex and hard to understand. And you often need a guide to help get you there. So that's what started me down the path of specializing in student loans. And from that specialization, I started to look for ways to help more and more people. I can't meet with everybody individually. And out of an outburst of that knowledge that I can't serve everyone one-to-one, we created our first online course. And that online course was Ultra Borrowers Academy. And it was a guide for people who are overwhelmed by a mountain of student loan debt to give them a path out of their situation by having their student loans forgiven, reduced, reorganized, or expedited. So for various reasons, rebranding being one of them, to have a name that was more easily identifiable, but also just some of the goals that we have for this online education company, we decided that we were going to rebrand to Escape Student Loan Debt. And throughout this process, throughout all of the legislative changes with student loans that have been the result of the pandemic and economic stimulus packages, there have been a number of reasons that we felt it necessary to update the course. So for the past few months, we have been not only rebranding, but we have been updating our flagship course. And in that process, it just became very, very difficult to put out videos consistently, and I want to make sure that I give you guys videos consistently. So I have been searching for a medium, a method to get these videos out to you, and I came across a person. His name is Thomas Stovall, and his company, Intention Mastery, that I was introduced to. And throughout the process, they gave me a framework that I would like to follow to make sure I get you content more frequently. And that was a podcast. And that podcast will be partnered with these YouTube videos. We are not going to cancel this channel, but I do believe that by offering a podcast, we'll be able to get these videos to you in a timely fashion, especially as things continue to change with federal and private student loans. So after the break, I'll tell you about the format for the podcast, how frequently you can expect episodes, and how you can engage with us to learn more about our flagship program, Escape Student Loan Debt, which we are about to launch in terms of the version that will include all of these machinations and all of these adjustments to the federal and private student loan space that you've seen over the previous few years.
This is the Escape Student Loan Debt Podcast,
A show for established professionals whose student loan payments or loan balances are impacting their marriage, their business, their credit, or their dream of achieving home ownership.
We'll be right back.
Are you interested in learning the tools and techniques we use to get student loans forgiven, reduced, reorganized, or expedited? Well, great news. We're currently updating our flagship course, Escape Student Loan Debt, to reflect the current changes in the student loan landscape. To stay up to date on the launch of the course and opportunities to sit in on our live recording sessions, head to escapestudentloandebt.com and join our email list now.
You're listening to the Escape Student Loan Debt Podcast.
Subscribe now at escapestudentloandebt.com.
Welcome back.
All right, we are back from the break, and it's time for me to give you some context as to what you can expect. First of all, I would love for you to not only watch these videos here, but also subscribe on your various podcast networks. This is going to be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the like. And in terms of the format, we're going to offer these as micro episodes. Each episode is probably going to be 10 to 15 minutes in length. And I know there are some of you out there who are subscribed to a ton of podcasts, and you might like the long form format. But you're busy, and I want to make sure that if you're on a quick trip to the grocery store or to the gas station, that I can give you some intense value that is actionable, and you will know what to do and where to go once you finish that quick trip. So we're going to offer these right now every other week. That might change in terms of making them more frequent, but our goal is to make sure that we have a new episode at least every other week. And as we can, we may offer them in stretches as weekly episodes, but no less than bi-weekly. We're going to cover some really cool topics, starting with the history of federal student loans in this country, which will give you some frustrating but unique background that will be very relevant to what you see in the student loan space right now. We are also going to cover the details of the recently released student loan forgiveness plan that was unveiled by the Biden administration. And beyond that point, a number of the videos that we're going to cover are going to be lessons that are pulled from our flagship course, Escape Student Loan Debt. And if you are interested in those more detailed trainings where we have hours worth of content to help you navigate this debt, I encourage you to not only follow us on these platforms, but also to go to escapestudentloandebt.com, where you can hear more about our offerings, hear more about the flagship course, the live sessions that we offer from time to time, the informational webinars. There is a wealth of information that we plan to bring to you, and I believe this is the start of a very cool thing. So subscribe. Thank you for already having done so on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast. If you have someone who's struggling with federal and private student loan debt, send them our information, send them to the site so they can log in and be kept up to date as well. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And when you see me for the next time, that will be the first episode of the Escape Student Loan Debt podcast. See you then.